This is Pitch Session, Tools for Your Next Generation Production Pipeline. I love this session. How is the building of the next generation production world going? Well, obviously there's still some pain points. It's not perfect yet. Script watermarking, team collaboration, tracking and reporting, data silos, data security, file naming, mailing chaos, lost metadata, late dailies. These are some of the pain points. This session is going to look at some of the tools that can help you. If they're used correctly, can boost your next production into the next phase, save you time, budget, more efficient workflows, all those good things. And in the spirit of it's better seeing than just speaking about, we have brought together a very exciting collaboration. I'd like to thank our panelists for working on this, because it's been a labor of love to get this to work together. And so you're actually going to be seeing something that we've put together that actually shows how these tools work together. So I'm going to introduce them, and then they're going to take it away with the demonstration, all right? So next to me, we have Shelley Malott. She is the president of Final Draft. Final Draft is a screenwriting software, which many of you, I hope, have heard of. Next to her, we have Florian. Florian Reinman. He is the CEO of Yamdu. Yamdu is an all-in-one pre-production I can't even read my writing. Pre-production.
A pre-production hub for your cast, your crew.
Thank
project.
you. A hub for your cast and for your crew. Next to Florian, we have Martin, right? No, that's Yannick. We have Yannick. Sorry, I've got this all in different order.
Hi.
Yannick Heiber. He is the CMO of Lockitnetwork, GmbH. It's a metadata hub. Thank you, Yannick, for coming. And last but not least, we have Martin Verwast. Is that how you say it? Verwast, close.
Great.
He's the CEO of Limecraft. Limecraft is workspace for video and teams. So what's great about this is that all these guys, obviously separate companies, but they're going to work together on this. Shelley, why don't you take it away and give us a kind of set us up and then start the demo.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, none of us would be here without a script file to work from, and most of those script files are going to be created in Final Draft. So Final Draft is proud to work with all of our partners here. The file works seamlessly within their environments, and what we've put together is a little presentation that shows you how that actually works. So the creative process is never a straight line. So has a script that you've worked with ever remained the same since you started? Never. It's always going to be transforming. So in order to keep track of that transformation, we're going to start with Final Draft. So in this example, we've decided to add a character, the captain. Is it running? Okay. So by adding a character, a couple of things are happening. We have another actor. We'll have to track that actor. That actor is wearing some very specific items of clothing. So we're going to have to be tagging that as we go down the line. Makeup is going to know about it. So just making a simple change like that in the script has a lot of repercussions for the production process. So as you can see behind me, we're adding the captain to the script. Now in the background, what you don't see is Final Draft has added the captain to the cast list. So as I write the captain's bit of dialogue that's coming up here, all I have to start writing is THE, and Final Draft is going to assume that the captain's going to be speaking. We'll watch that bit on the scene. Sorry, I typed slowly. So there's the auto text.
Oh, I see. Captain. Yeah, the captain, right?
Yeah. So Final Draft. I assume most of you have probably worked with a Final Draft file. We are the industry standard screenwriting software used by 95% of productions worldwide. A couple of the reasons that Final Draft is used. Collaboration is one. What more collaborative process is there than filmmaking? So if you're working on a script and you want to make sure that everyone is on the same page, which is key, and the writer is not in the same room, but you want to work on the file together, you can start the collaboration process within Final Draft. So Florian could be in Germany and I'm home in the United States and we might like to make a change on this script. So we start a collaboration. We can both see what each other is typing. And then at the end of the collaboration, when we've agreed, we hit save, and we both have the same file. So we're literally on the same page. Tracking. You want to know who's making what changes, and then you want to have the ability to accept or reject those changes.
Exactly.
You want that power. So Final Draft has a track changes feature. It's new in 12. So anyone can make changes, and that particular person is going to be identified by a color. So Florian might be green, and I might be red. And then ultimately, the director is going to look at our changes, and he's going to accept mine, but maybe he doesn't want Florian's changes. So they will be rejected, and they will not show up in the final file.
Right.
So we're going to look at the work that we did with the captain here, and this just shows you track changes in action. So I've looked at it, I accept it, and now it's just part of the script file. I go down the scene and I see, oh, there's more red, so that's a change that Shelley's made, so I'm going to accept it. Then I quickly visually look and I don't see any more changes. So we're going to save the file and move on. So then there's tagging. You're all very familiar with tagging, and the captain has made some more tagging challenges for us because he has to have a captain's hat, and he has long tails, and his character is very special. So we need to go into the file in Final Draft and tag it. Now, those of you who have used Final Draft for, well, quite honestly, decades, because we've been around for a very long time, might remember that we had a program called Tagger. So you had to have a separate program for tagging. But now tagging is integrated within Final Draft, so you can quickly and easily tag. And once I've tagged the captain throughout the script, that tag will exist. I don't have to manually go and do that. But you can also do tagging in Yamdu, which is very exciting. So I'm going to hand the process over to my partner, Florian.
Thank you, Shelley. Great. Yeah, now we are entering the world of Yamdu, and we're kind of, as we already said, like a hub for the pre-production part. So it's really great to kind of seamlessly take over what is happening in Final Draft, and that's what we've prepared. So here in our project in Yamdu, we already have like the script version 1, the original version, which we have imported as an FTX file. And now we import again Shelley's new version, the version 2, and Yamdu is scanning it. We can have a look at it. And for example, we have the scenes to set the characters. And we have also like a side-to-side comparison, what you have changed with adding the captain and adding this little scene, etc. So you always be aware of what has been changed, what has happened. The sets have been unchanged, but of course the captain, our beloved captain, now is also added and detected by Yamdu and added to the database. So now we update for the entire crew to see our script in Yamdu, and of course we see also the captain automatically be added. But I love your rum cask so much, so I also tag that actually manually for example, for the set dressing department. So when it comes to what you said, collaboration, it's really depending on your position and access rights where the teams, the creative departments can work together in their little kingdoms and add all the assets they might need. All those assets are kind of objects and they're linked throughout the software. So if I click on the captain, I get into the casting feature as an example for the department-specific tools. And I want to add Gregory Rush, the famous non-existing actor from Australia, to be part of that and be our captain. So I just choose him. I say, yeah, it's a cast. And in the background now, costume department, director's department, everybody gets notified who needs to know we have now our captain. So that's basically also as I would go to other areas like the casting overview, where you can always have access to the talent at any time. Now, we are collecting first the kind of what we need, but now we also want to see when do we actually need it and add kind of the aspect of time. So I could import shooting schedules from also legacy products like Movie Magic Scheduling or here in Europe, PhotoCheck, but in this case, I use Yamdu's own shooting scheduling tool. And of course, I have all the scenes from the Final Draft file and all the data that we have detected. And here, just in a couple of seconds, I create some sort of shooting schedule that hopefully makes sense. Just with 2 pages, we can shoot, for example, for one shooting day. So now everything remains linked, right? So I now have this shooting schedule where I can arrange things, I can have my own scenarios, work on my own, but I can then also, of course, publish and activate. Again, the crew gets notified that now we have a new shooting schedule added. And that adds automatically the day out of day information in real time. So all the creative departments know immediately and can also do their own exports. When do we need, for example, the captain? You can access, like part of the production team, the captain, you see certain data, of course, with a very strict and granular access rights, like his food preferences and contract and stuff like that, which is important on set, right?
Does he need M&Ms in his dressing room?
Definitely,
You know,
the white
green
towels
ones,
and all
definitely.
that, yeah. But the costume design department maybe only sees, of course, the sizes and can go on with the outfit and selection. And eventually you can also create your call sheet and consolidate all the data that was collaboratively taken, like in pre-production, and create pre-populated call sheets that you can design according to your production company requirements or second AD requirements. And you see we have Gregory Rush, we have Don Winslow, his agent automatically here. We know where we shoot, what scenes we shoot. And of course you can add now for the captain and Gregory Rush when he needs to be on set and makeup, etc. and rehearsal. And down below you will also see, even for the production design department, we have, of course, our beloved large rum cask. So that is be ready for scene number 1. So all that information now is like if you want to distribute call sheets and export day out of days in Yamdu, but of course we go back now in a second to the shooting schedule, as we can push that information to Lockitnetwork to really do more on set, and I think Yannick will talk in a couple of seconds more about the Lockit integration. Now, really in a nutshell, why we actually did all this. So back then we said, okay, it's a very special industry. And if you think about, for example, possible ways and lines of communication, how many people need to work together? It usually starts very easy, right? A small group of people having an idea. But then it goes on and on. It's more and more people getting involved, and everybody has his or her own isolated solution, needs to communicate, maybe needs to transfer data. So what can possibly go wrong, right? So, and eventually it all has to go back, of course, to the producer, for example, the production company for delivery. And that's why we built Yamdu. We want to make this easier and have one ecosystem, of course, partnering with like legacy products like Final Draft and partners over here like Limecraft and Lockit, to make things easier and to have less manual work and also miscommunication. So in a nutshell, it's basically Yamdu, your single source of truth for not having data scattered around, have one calendar, for example, for the entire production. It's supposed to cut the dull bits from pre-production as much as we can automate, we want to automate. It's also bringing your crew together as they can communicate and comment in one ecosystem online. And of course, it offers also security that goes above and beyond. We're approved by Amazon Studios. Of course, we are GDPR compliant, so you don't have to think about all that. It can outsource it to a SaaS solution like ours. So that's what we're going to do. Our mission, keep your eyes on the big picture and leave the details to us. And now I leave it to Yannick to go on. Thank you.
Thanks, Florian. Then now we are entering the field, the set. I mean, planning is good, planning is important. Planning is the one thing, but what then really happens on the set is often quite another thing. So that's, I will show you now how we take over all these metadata from the pre-production. We enrich it with the actual data of what's happening on the set while shooting, and then hand it over later to post-production tools or asset management tools like Limecraft. So what I did here now is I'm importing both a Final Draft file and a Yamdu scheduling file in our web access, the web tools. And so you see, with just doing that, I have all the information in our system, so I don't have to retype it, it's all there. And then there is a live sync to our main tool, which is a script supervising tool called Lockit Script. This is an iPad app dedicated for script supervisors. So you see all the information like scenes, locations, cast and stuff, it's already there. So the script supervisor on the set uses this instead of paper to enter content metadata. The important thing that what we're doing now is that we allocate the the clips. We merge, we break down the metadata to the single clip, which is very important because in post-production you need all this metadata clip-based. So as you saw, the script supervisor drags and drops the camera clips into the specific scene, shot, take. He or she adds content information like good and bad and stuff like that. A nice thing is that we also can display the final draft script here for doing script, what is called script lining. This way, the script supervisor is showing to the post-production which parts of the scene belongs to which shot. So this is from the imported FDX file, what we have here. We also have the possibility to display a Yamdu call sheet, which is basically just a PDF, but nice to have as well. But the real magic there is then that we our different export functions. So we have different progress reports, production reports, anything. But let's look at that in the web tools. So. This scene is yellow because we started the shooting. I already had entered some clips. So now you can download, as a post-production company, you can download all the clip-based metadata to whatever editing tool you're using, be it Premiere Pro, be it Avid or Resolve or whatever. And what I clicked now was a CSV export, which I chose to hand over the data then to Limecraft, but we'll look at that later. So just a few more words about Lockitnetwork first. We started this because there was a gap. I mean, we already had some kind of digital pre-production, we had digital post-production, but on set, people are, and still are, using paper, which does not really make sense. So we did something magic in between to make the data flow from pre-production to post-production. And as said, the important thing is to break down all the metadata that exists in pre-production, enrich it, and break it then down to each clip. So that the post-production can really use it. And yeah, the main tool is our Lockit script app. This is an app for script supervisors. Not every set in the world can afford a script supervisor. There are smaller sets as well. For this purpose, we have a downgraded version of that, which is just for the director, where you can just press a green button or a red button for good take and bad take. So this is very basic then, yeah? But it also works. So if you can't afford a script supervisor, just buy one of those.
Buy one of those.
You could use it for casting.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's it. So every press of a button creates a marker then in the editing tool where you see, oh, at this point I pressed green and at this point I pressed red button. If you want to see that in action, we have, all of us, we have a demo tomorrow morning, a demo session. You can watch that. So basically, as Kate said, we are the onset metadata hub, so we're trying to be compatible to as many pre-production tools as possible, and then in the end broadcasting the information to as many post-production tools as possible. And as said, in many different customizable reports, customizable metadata outputs, so that's kind of our stake to be flexible there. This is kind of a German special. I don't know if some of you have shooting something for the ZDF, but they have something where you have to enter the progress report in their own tool, which is kind of not really. It's a bad UX, okay? and all the people using our product said, why can't I put your data right into there? But the CDF guys, they didn't want to make a direct interface to us, so we kind of hacked it a little bit and just wrote a browser plugin where you now autofill the fields. So once you click import stuff from Lockitnetwork to the ZDF tool, it works. So that's
a
kind
good
of
workaround. I like that.
It's a very workaroundy thing, but one of our best sellers in Germany.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
So benefits on set, of course, paperless, no more paper anymore. Hashtag green production. We are always up to date when the schedule changes on Yamdu or something. This is can be ingested all the time, and it's a time saver. And in post production, of course, it's a time saver because you have your clips named in the editing right away. You can sort it by scene. You can sort out good and bad stuff. You you can start editing earlier, and the quality is better because all the information from the set is directly visible for the editor. That's it. And now I hand over to you, Martin.
Thank you so much. So you had a great script. You have meticulously done the pre-production. The real work has been done on the production set, and now the poor edit assistant has to fix it in post. Just to give you a sense on the volume, I'd like to quote Sandy McIntyre of the Associated Press. By the way, we work for news, documentary, and scripted entertainment, but the volumes are pretty similar. And AP 2 years ago used to be a text-based news agency, but more and more making video. Now 20,000 hours of original footage per year. And that's becoming increasingly unmanageable. And that's also the case for television series cameras, becoming more and more a format like Hunted, 8 cameras running in parallel, producing a shitload of content. And I hope it's readable. As long, ladies and gentlemen, if the producer is working for the regional broadcaster, one size fits all, you can help yourself with manual naming conventions and reformatting. If, like in the example of the gentleman from Netflix, you're outputting in 190 countries the number of deliverables times 100 plus, you've got a scalability problem, and you'll need automation. Probably with the help of artificial intelligence, surely in the cloud, you'll need to find out a more intelligent approach to managing your video files. Just for the sake of throwing some numbers, we're out there for 12 years. Currently, 200 petabyte of content under management in the asset management platform. 6,000 plus monthly active users on Limecraft and steeply growing. The reason why is that Limecraft is not just another asset management system. It's a workspace for people. It's not so technical. And it's collecting all possible data coming from scripts, from the camera, from sound, from pre-production. And it's making sure the right material, the right data gets in the right hands in post-production, and all of that securely. We'll now have a closer look at the use case of fiction, in which the most challenging producers roughly make over 1,000 files per day. France Télévisions, ainsi Grand Soleil, continuous drama, 220 shooting days per season. Now, that's completely nonsense to do it manually in offline edit base. It needs to be automated. Automation means audio sync, color grading using lookup tables, creating the proxies, and making sure those land in the right pieces of storage as fast as possible. Here is a... Is it starting automatically? Yeah, with a short intro. The point is, if you're coming from a film set, you're not forklifting terabytes of content into the cloud, do you? So you have to prepare the proxies before you can have these low-resolution copies into the cloud. And this is what the ingest software is doing. So according to a pre-programmed, pre-configured set of encoding parameters and instructions for handling the audio, which is often more complicated than handling the video, it will make sure the right pieces of content get into cloud, get on the Avid storage, get in deep archive, and by the way, harvesting all the applicable data coming from Lockitnetwork or similar. The beauty of the automation, which the beauty of that is that when you collect it in the asset management environment, you're not only getting information about shooting days and all the versions, also those that are managed on local storage. By processing the script, there's all sorts of information, interior, exterior, the sets, the actors. And to make the point stronger, you can automatically cut the shots into scenes. By reconciling the metadata coming from pre-production and tracing those, linking those to the shots, we're automatically using the right sort order, which is key for executive producers because they don't mind about the order of shooting days. They understand the script. You can also restrict it to the circle shots, information coming from Lockitnetwork, and then with a single click of the button, export all of it into Adobe Premiere or, for the matter, into Avid Media Composer, including all the sound bites and the metadata pieces on the timeline, bypassing Avid Script Sync all the way, which is a true time saver for the editors. This is not getting rid of the editor, don't get me wrong. This is empowering the editors and in general giving them the tools to improve their job. There is a war for talent going on there. We as technologists, as technology suppliers, need to make sure they can do a better job. We do so by connecting local storage with what happens in the cloud, either on tape or connecting AWS, whatever, we take away that technical complexity. There is quite a bit of artificial intelligence under the hood, listening to the actors' voices, matching that with the script, and all of that packaged in a single, coherent, configurable workflow. Once again, instruments to improve the job of professionals, not to make them redundant. I think that's the key for the key pitch to creative people. If you're interested, www.limecraft.com. There is a free trial available, or else, if not tomorrow between 10 and 11, there is demo sessions in the lobby of the conference. Thank you very much.
Now, we showed the rest of that, the captain, or what was his name, the captain, right? Did we show that at the end? Because I sort of missed that. Where was he in that little last thing? Did you show the captain coming
It
through?
was somewhere in the
It was somewhere in that
screencast,
thing that
but
streamed, right? Okay.
by taking the captain and Farid and Farah, these are searchable, not as plain text, but
Right.
these should be known in the asset management environment as characters,
Right.
not as plain text.
Yeah.
You want to look for the character Farid that uses the location Amun-Ra.
Right.
And now this was a short film, no big deal. That's just 4 or 5 shooting days. When you're in continuous drama, 220 shooting days, 200,000 files, and you want to find the needle in the haystack, and then you need all those data. It's not just a matter of a search engine. You need a coherent look on all the available data.
Okay, cool. I thought that was really cool. So was that interesting working together on that? I mean, I assume you've all worked together before.
It was fun, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Any questions from the audience about this? Yes, there's one here. Hi, Peter. Hi, Peter.
A real technical question.
It's right behind you.
Oh, sorry. I have a technical question. I understand that you export and import the data between Final Draft and Yamdu and so on by exporting a certain file format. And I think you do that through an API, right? Is that is the case? My question is, do you have APIs exchange between Final Draft and Yamdu and Lockitscript? Because my question is, if as a producer I decide to, sorry to say that, replace maybe Final Draft to another script software, can I do this in the same way, or is it limited to the pipeline which you were just introducing?
Well, any new tool that comes into play, we have to integrate it manually. But this has to be done once, and then you're good to go. Actually, I mean, we have APIs, for example, Lockit has an API, Yamdu has an API. You probably do so as well. I don't know, but in this showcase we did it via file, just importing a file.
Watercolor style.
Actually, it's up to you guys. You know, you have to tell us, guys, I have these two tools, make it work together, and then we'll do it. You know, then we do this extra effort and connecting them live, which is even more convenient as well, of course.
Absolutely.
And any other screen rating software that wants to be used will ultimately export to an FDX file because that's what everyone uses.
Okay.
That's
An
right. Yeah.
FDX.
If I may allow, just a second question. What is your
I
experience?
think Martin has a little more to
sorry.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you made a very important remark, Peter. While this meeting room decides that we'll all speak English and that makes it easy to communicate and to interact, every system you bring in your application architecture will introduce a new technical language. Having properly documented APIs is a necessary but on its own insufficient condition. I think in the foreseeable future, 12 months from here, we will see a more no-code style of integration whereby you won't need software developers anymore, but with a simple click and drag and drop style, non-technical people will be able to assemble their particular workflow because Final Draft is the 95% market share. That's the easy one. But sorry, Florian, apart from Yamdu, we're also integrated with CNetwork and SetKeeper and Dramatify. So point taken, that needs to be interchangeable. For the time being, you'll need software developers to make sure these APIs are mapped. As technology suppliers, I think we have the responsibility to look for more alignment there and to support the no-code workflow style.
Definitely, and maybe to add on that, of course, we also have like APIs, but I think we've chosen the export-import thing because it's so simple, right? You have an author used to Final Draft, just export. He does basically, or she does the same. She would also do like putting it per email, or Dropbox, or whatever. Just here, it is imported, for example, in Yamdu. So I think API, yes, where it makes sense, but I think just having a file exchange is sometimes just the quickest and most simple way that doesn't need any explanation for the filmmakers.
I like the no-code workflow style. That sounds.
Yeah.
But you said it's going to happen in 12 months? Why 12 months? Everybody else laughs.
I mean,
Maybe not
the
12
great
months.
thing is, if you think about it, like, for example, if we import scripts or the schedules, we have an industry that in some areas follows like a century-old kind of thing, how things are done. And I think we need to just use that and see the design, see the patterns, and then just take it from anywhere else. Yeah.
12 months, when we came back from IBC, there were clearly a couple of companies starting to use it in their marketing speak. So I would judge it on the beginning of the hype cycle, and then it will go over the peak of enthusiasm. So
And then we'll get there. So
probably 12 to 18 months from here, we will see it being adopted by real suppliers.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. I always love those kind of forecasts because, you know, you're the guys that know because you're right at the coalface. Peter, you had another question?
Yeah, did any one of you, I mean, you are collecting the metadata right from the script over the post-production until over the pre-production until the post-production, right? Do you have any experience, did any distributor ask you once for the information you gathered there to use that information which you get from pre-production also in the distribution?
We have one in production. It's France Télévisions. They use it to with the final master. In France, they call it PAD, pré-distribution. Together with a detailed table of content without artificial intelligence, looking at object recognition, etc. Everything which is valuable is mentioned in the script, otherwise it's not valuable. And those data need to be, it's complicated, need to be aligned with the individual shots. And then we have to virtually cut and paste streams of metadata along with the cuts in the video, so as to deliver at the end a technical XML document that contains characters, props, locations, exactly on the time code where they are featured. I think that, ladies and gentlemen, is of critical importance to feed search engines and recommendation engines.
Yeah.
Whether you as a producer have a commercial interest in it or not, it will be asked for by the streamers, I think.
And that's just something you've just started to see?
France Télévisions was an early adopter. They asked it 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
But first things first.
So funny, you'd think that Netflix would have asked for it first, but I guess they didn't.
Netflix?
They do it themselves.
3 years ago, they were hiring professional taggers.
Really?
You know what that is?
No.
Looking at the images and,
Looking up
and
the
doing
images.
exactly that.
That's all they did.
And you just need to care a little bit about the information coming from the script. It's all in there.
It's all there,
You
right?
just need to curate the flow of data and done.
Well,
Much
there's
more
a new
accurate.
business opportunity, figuring that out, because that is true. I mean, one of my big bugbears I always talk about is, how are we going to find stuff or discover stuff in this sea of content? I mean, it's going to just get more and more complicated. So if you're a streamer or anybody, you want that metadata. Any other questions for our group here? There's one. Is that Marco? Yeah.
Being one of the interested parties who's actually distributing content.
Yes, this is a Paramount Plus guy.
We know each other. Did you ever think about, with all those tag metadata, when we're looking at AI-based recommendations or summaries, like imagine a recap that is created on like the last time the person watched an episode, and probably how many he was watching last time. So user-generated recaps based on the actual position where people stopped. Do you think something like that would be feasible out of your automated editing engine? Or how long will it take until you think something like that is happening?
12 to 18 months.
8 months.
12 to 18 months. He's going to need a contract up front, though, Marco.
It's like an onion with several layers, and what you're suggesting is adding yet another source of data, adding another complication which need to be blended and reconciled. We should look into the streamer's core business, what these guys are doing in their R&D departments.
And maybe to add on that, I think it will be the future, right? And it's all there. It starts at a script, and you can track it all along. But to be honest, if we talk about timelines, I mean, we are talking to producers and filmmakers and have to show them what you can do just by reusing data. I'm not even talking about meta. I'm really talking, if you have all your crew members, all your cast members, in Yamdu you can pre-populate your credit lists. You don't have to copy-paste it in a spreadsheet. So we are kind of more fighting Microsoft Word, Excel, or something like that. And I think we are still in a very inner circle of the onion in really, if it comes to the large production houses. So, but I think of course it's the future, right? And it's an important thing is when we start digital and we go on, it's already there, right? And then we just need to take the next steps, and then the next and the next, like you said.
Yeah.
Interesting, right. I think you're right. I think you need to, they need to talk to this. You guys need to talk to the streamers and sort of say, okay, what is it you need? What do you want? Because I'm sure that would be something that, Marco's obviously brought it up, so it's obviously something he's thinking about. Anything else that anyone wants to ask? This is a fascinating group here. They have a lot of, yes, AC.
Very quickly, building on what Marco was asking, a couple of years ago there was an article in Variety saying Hollywood is dead, and having in the scenarios coming up, there was not even AI recapitulating what I've been watching before, but an AI saying hey AC, you had a hard day today, let me compress you that film within 25 minutes because I know after that you have a dinner. How many months do you need for that?
Well, the synopsis is already integrated in Final Draft, so the information is already there. Just give me a couple of weeks. If you need it.
Taxis too. too. Exactly right. Fascinating. Yeah, as they know more and more about our styles of when we watch things, why we watch things, they'll be integrating our calendar into when we can watch a whatever length movie or episode or whatever it is. Oh my goodness. Right. The world that's coming. Anyone else? No? This was fascinating, wasn't it? Yeah, I learned a lot. Thank you all for doing this. I know this took some extra effort, but I think it definitely paid off. And it was really nice to see the flow of how it works as opposed to sort of separate presentations that didn't have that sort of string through it. So I really appreciate your doing that. Could you please join me in thanking our panel, Martin, Yannick, Florian, and Shelley. Thank you. Okay.
And we'll all be available at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
And they'll all be available
Together.
at 10 a.m. tomorrow at
the
At the
front
hub.
of the
At the
hub.
front lobby,
At the
10
front
to
lobby,
11.
10 to
Just
11.
come to us.
Come
ask
and look at their
questions.
tools, because I'm sure they'd be happy to tell you about it. Yeah, and anything that you need, they can do it in 12 to 18 months.
At least.
If not 3 weeks. Thank you.